What is up, guys, gals, and everyone in between? Today is my first official YouTube video. I'm gonna see where this kind of takes off from. Just kind of share my car knowledge and, you know, do car stuff with me every day. Today we are at West Fargo self-serve auto parts. Only U-Pull junkyard here in town. Got some things to look for the van here. I do have a project Chevy Malibu that I'm looking for a bumper for specifically, along with any other little goodies I can get. You know, I'm gonna look for a new mirror switch, as that one has seen better days. And then a new DVD player, as this one decides when it would like to turn on and when it would like to turn off. And then just whatever else I can find. But other than that, you know, we're gonna go inside, we're gonna see anything cool they may have in there. I know they got a couple niche vehicles I kinda wanna explore with you guys. So yeah, let's go in there on this dreary gray day here in North Dakota and see what we find. Alright guys, we paid the $5 entrance to get in, which honestly is still not that bad of a deal. And now we have full reign of the lot here, so we'll see what we can find. And right here, almost right away, we have a Malibu. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for specifically a front bumper. This one's in meh shape. This is just a car I'm planning to resell, so it's not the end of the world, but I would like one that's a little bit better shape. Same engine that I have, it looks like. Looks pretty intact. Let's see what the inside looks like. Ooh, this was a pretty nice one back in its day. It had heated seats, leather steering wheel. That's another thing I may be looking for if I find it. But yeah, I think I'll probably pass on this one. If I can't find a bumper on any of these other cars, maybe we'll come back to this one. And not a couple feet later, we found another one of these Malibus. This one's in better shape over here. Looks like a little bit of grill damage kind of right up here, but compared to the bumper that is no longer on mine, it's still in much better shape. This is definitely a top contender, especially over that other one. See what the inside looks like. Very base spec, very simple inside. I definitely could use this radio as my aux input does not work properly. Other than that, seats are in pretty good shape. This one's pretty complete. I mean, seriously, not a lot's been pulled out of it. And it doesn't look like it's been treated too terribly either. Definitely have to look at the other ones, but maybe come back to this one. This Bravada is one of the best 90s colors I've ever seen on a car. Anybody who knows me knows I am a sucker for green on anything. Unfortunately, this thing looks a bit tired. It looks like most of them look around North Dakota. But it does look like it was pretty loaded up. I mean, it is an Oldsmobile after all. Power seats, memory seat, power lumbar support, leather. Yeah, this thing was pretty nice back in its day. It's unfortunate some of these cars you see here. We're only in the first two rows here and already there's another Malibu. This one obviously missing the front bumper cover, but I already see something inside that I definitely want to show you guys. It's got the nice wheels. This one is definitely a nicer option one back in its day. Yeah, LTZ right there, top of the line. But this thing has the absolute most gorgeous interior I've ever seen on a car. Well, I shouldn't go too far, but this thing is, the seats are extremely nice. If I was keeping my Malibu, I would highly consider coming here and harvesting this entire interior. The radio is there, everything is there. I think they called this saddle back in its day. Extends to the door panels. Even the back seat gets the treatment. This was definitely a very nice one back in its day. Household outlet. Also, fender repeater lights for the turn signals. Only did that in 2008 for these Malibus. After that, they took that option off of there. And just panning over here, see another very cool car. Anybody who knows me as well knows I'm a sucker for a wagon, especially the more obscure the better. This one is even green with a tan interior, which in my eyes is probably the supreme color combination. Looks like an old Mercedes. I'm not super well versed on German cars, but had power seats controls on the doors, and it looks like this one even has a memory seat adjuster for the passenger seat. You see it a lot for the driver's seats, but never really for the passenger. Heated seats, power windows in the center. Unfortunately, the interior looks worse for wear. I would definitely not be harvesting anything out of this if I had one of these, but very cool, very niche wagon nonetheless. Here's another super cool, super niche car. Again, anybody who knows me knows I am a sucker for a good Saab. This one definitely looks like it's lived a pretty rough life, or second half of its life. It is more of a trimmed down model. Trimmed down for Saab still means very much leather interior, no power adjustment on the passenger side. Super cool dash cup holder that's always broken. Center mounted ignition. But yeah, unfortunately, this thing smells as good as it looks. It is in rough shape, and not surprisingly here in North Dakota, it is mostly intact. There's not going to be a whole lot of people that are still looking for parts for these cars. Super cool Saab 9.3, same drivetrain as a Cobalt SS, Chevy HHR SS. Very cool, very reliable. Obviously this one's been leaking for quite some time, which is usually what kills these engines, is leaks that go unchecked. But this one's pretty rough. Nothing I need off of it anyway. Very pretty color up close as well too. I believe they call this smoke beige. It was a very pretty car back when it was new. It's a shame to see it here. And here we go. This one, this is the same thing. Another Saab 9.3. This one hurts quite a bit actually, because this used to be my vehicle. This one is a 2007 Aero V6. I sold this car. They ended up having some sort of engine fire. I ended up buying it back under the impression that it was still in good shape. That was not the case. Ran and drove okay, but unfortunately the cooling fans would not turn on. And I noticed that after I got it back, so took a look into it. ECM sits right back here, and you can see it has a lot of evidence of some sort of engine fire happening back here. When I asked the guy about it, I was like, hey man, has this car had an engine fire? Can you tell me more about it? He declined to say anything about it and needed a rebuilt ECM on top of other engine damage that was unknown at the time. And with the car being as rusty as it is, you can see down here it's already got quite a bit of rust, and rust showing through on a previous Bondo job. You actually see maybe in the camera there the Bondo that's been done on this thing. It just wasn't worth it for me to invest $750 starting for a new ECM on top of the unknown damage. I decided to part it out and send this thing to the junkyard. Unfortunately, I did try to sell it privately for a number of days, and I didn't really gather any interest, which wasn't surprising. Yeah, this one's a tough one to see in the yard. Not surprising at all to see one of these here. 2010 to 2017 Chevy Equinox. Honestly, I've owned one of these. Fantastic cars, really comfortable to be in. But unfortunately, most of them come with the notorious 2.4 liter Ecotec that is just woefully underpowered for this thing. With a lot of these, owners don't change the oil on time. They don't ensure that there is proper amount of oil in the engine. So a lot of times, especially when they come into my shop, they are completely dry. And over time, that stretches the timing chains and leads to engine failure. Not surprising to see these cars here. I will probably at some point do an entire video on these things. Not surprising to see here. Now I've done research, a little bit of research on these Grand Prix and what parts will interchange with the van that I do have. I did take a quick peek inside this car already, and it looks like it has a pretty nice steering wheel. This vehicle was definitely more of a base model back in its day, but towards the end there, they were basically just trying to use the parts up, and this is definitely a late model Grand Prix. Probably an 07 or an 08. 08 was the last year of this body style. One of the best used cars you can buy as far as reliability goes, and that goes for really any GM car with the 3800 series engine. You can't really go wrong. Over time, you see them regularly with 300,000 miles. They're still running just fine. I'm sure this one probably came here because it had transmission issues or electrical issues. I've already done the transmission, which is the same transmission in my Saturn van because of hard shifting into first gear. I'm gonna work on removing this steering wheel and I will be back. Quick update, I was in the process of getting this turned so I can remove it, and I just realized I don't have the tool I need to get the center nut off that's hidden behind this airbag. So I will have to come back another day for this wheel, but I imagine this or a comparable steering wheel will still be here. We're gonna keep moving on and keep exploring, and actually right down the way here I do see a couple cool cars. So we'll start on this side. A purple Cavalier Rally Sport. Now I don't know a ton about Cavaliers besides the fact that my mom owned one when she was 16. This one, while it looks pretty paint faded, definitely looks like it's lived its life in Arizona or Nevada instead of North Dakota. It's not really that rusty. You know, typically this is completely rotted, but this one doesn't really look that bad. But very plain Jane cars designed to compete with the Honda Civics and the Toyota Corollas of the day, but cool little rally sport. Definitely has a purple tinge to the seat. I don't know if that's intentional or if that's wear and tear. Very plain Jane cars to exist in. Dash is made out of Tupperware containers, but this one did have a sunroof. This one had cool seats. This was definitely a cool car back in its day. And moving back here, again, love a good wagon. These Taurus wagons, it's one of my dreams to own one of these one day. We had a 98 growing up, and it was the first car I actually drove on. And this one looks to be pretty complete. Not a whole lot of things taken off here. Door panel's still in good shape. These always fall off of these Tauruses. Only 166 when it came to the yard. Kind of known for going over 200,000 miles pretty easily. This is basically the Ford version of the GM 3800. I used to hate these cars back when I was younger. They weren't cool to me. The older I get, the more I want a nice, reliable, comfortable car. So yeah, this one has lived its life as a family hauler. Hatch even works. I even wonder if this has the, oh, it does not have the third row seats, I don't believe. Cool. Again, always sad to see a car like that here in the scrapyard. This Chevy Cruze is another one of those examples of a car I'm not surprised to see here. These are just, while being great little cars, I mean, inside wise, very nice, very comfortable, very sporty. It's got the red inserts in the seats, the dash, and the doors. They're just, this 1.4 Ecotec is just known for issues. I'm almost positive that's probably why it's here. You can see all the oil it's leaked over time. They're from water pump failures, water outlet failures, thermostat failures, head failures, valve cover failures. It just makes them just not reliable for long term. This one also looks like the North Dakota Salt had gotten quite a bit of it. Not a long-term car by any means, so not surprising to see it here in the yard. I finally fixed my camera to make it go to widescreen, and just in time for PT Cruiser Nation over here. We have a convertible. I don't know if it is a GT or not, but it is red leather. It was quite nice back in its day. If it's a GT, it does have the Dodge Neon 2.4 liter turbocharged engine. This one does not look like it was that. What usually sends these cars to the yard, a Chrysler and their notorious electrical issues, and the fact that these engines have timing belts and nobody ever changes them. But super cool nonetheless. Kind of sad to see all the water that's pooled up from the top being down, but this car won't see the road again. And I just noticed it looks like this one is a manual. We have another light yellow one over here that looks like it's been body repaired. Nice big crack in the windshield. This one's a little bit newer. Yellow continues to the interior. Fabric seats, more of a base model, of course. These cars got such a hate, and I don't think they quite deserved all of it. This one's a cooler yellow, definitely a high trim. You can tell by the wheels, by the color. Let's see what the inside looks like. For some reason, this door panel is red on the inside. Heated seats, custom seats that match the exterior. This one is high trimmed for sure. So yeah, this is a limited edition model. Lord knows why it's here, but definitely cool. And here we have a Buick Rendezvous, an early one judging by the amber turn signals. And this was Buick's answer to the Pontiac Aztek. I know you guys have heard of a Pontiac Aztek before. This one looks like it's a CX, which is more of a base model, but it is all-wheel drive. You know, my friend had one of these in high school, and she beat the absolute piss out of it, and it took every bit of her beating. So I kind of have a soft spot for these. Nice two-tone wheel. I really like this, and I really like these instrument gauges. The blue needles with the silver background is a very nice touch. And these seats are kind of cool too, just in case you forgot what kind of vehicle you were driving. They let you know, this is not a Pontiac Aztek, this is a Rendezvous. It even continues to the back seat as well, where there's a mysterious stain of some sort. But no, this thing was very nice. I mean, even for a base model, it looks like it had parking sensors. You know, another car that gets a lot of hate for not a whole lot of reason, I don't think. This is what started the whole crossover movement in the United States specifically. It's basically just a fancier Pontiac Aztek that has a little bit less offensive styling, even though I personally think the Azteks look pretty cool. And here is a badge engineered variant of my Saturn van. This is a 2005 Buick Terraza. Same exact thing, just with the Buick badge. A couple of nicer wood trim pieces that I might actually harvest today for my van. And I may take this DVD player as well too, just because I do need one for mine. Basically same thing, this one's even the same color as mine. I actually had taken the hood already. I've taken the bumper already. I was going to take this fender because mine was in a light fender bender when I got it. That's why I got it for so cheap. But I do see some rust starting at the bottom down there, so I'm not gonna elect to take this fender. I'll hold out. My fender's not really that damaged. But yeah, very nice, heated, probably fake leather, but gives the illusion, right? The variant's got, you know, fake wood in the dash. Maybe it's real wood. I doubt it. This mirror switch looks to be in much better shape than mine, and this wood pieces are pretty nice. So let me get to work on that, and I will be right back with you guys. All right, just got everything I needed off of that Buick, and I have it sitting in there so I can continue to record for you guys. This one's a weird one to see here. Some sort of mid-2000s BMW X3, I believe. 3.0 straight 6. I don't know a ton about BMWs, however, I do know that that's a notoriously reliable engine. This thing has a very beautiful interior, and it's complete by the looks of it. I don't know what sent this one here, as is the case with most of the cars in the yard, but I'm not surprised, as we don't have a BMW dealer up here. We have one service center that can service these German imports. Pretty nice. Pano sunroof. Definitely was a smoker's car. Yeah, X3. I would guess mid-2000s. Actually, let's see what this says here. 2005. So for being, you know, 20 years old, it's in pretty good shape, I would say. No what sent it here, but more than likely electrical faults of some sort. Owner probably was all done with it. Looks like the windows are taped up. So yeah, it's kind of sad to see here. This one is going to continue on with my trilogy of GM vehicles that I'm not surprised to see here in the yard. Really any Chevy Traverse up until the new ones, because the new ones haven't aged yet, but especially these ones here. I don't know what sent this here. Doesn't look like a car accident or anything like that, but more than likely engine/transmission failure. These have the same kind of problem that the 2.4 liters in the Equinoxes do, where they consume oil because it is a small engine for a very big vehicle. You have to remember that these weigh almost as much as a full-size Expedition, Suburban, Tahoe, Yukon, and they are powered by a naturally aspirated 3.6 liter V6. I've owned a Saturn Outlook, which is its lesser known cousin. It was a very, very nice vehicle to ride in, very comfortable to drive down the road, but unfortunately you're gnawing at your fingernails every time you're driving one of these waiting for something to go wrong. It's not a shock to see it here. Not a whole lot of people looking for something like this, which is surprising to me. Everybody in their life has seen one of these, knows what these are. Friends, family, aunt, uncle, grandma, somebody has owned a GMC Envoy or any one of its badge engineered variants. We're talking Chevrolet Trailblazer, Saab 97X, Isuzu Ascender, Oldsmobile Bravada, and Buick Rainier. I'm not surprised to see these here as they are getting a little bit old. I've owned a couple of these. One of the most reliable vehicles I've ever owned. I actually hit a deer going 45 miles an hour in mine, and I was able to drive it another 2 hours home in the middle of a blizzard with one dangling headlight. This, of course, is not mine, but does have the notoriously reliable 4.2 liter straight six. These engines don't really do a whole lot wrong. Best known for power steering leaks. Power steering lines are a pain on these to do. And of course, the 4L60 transmission that comes in these is the same transmission that's used in a variety of GM vehicles. Nobody ever services them, and they end up failing. These are another good buy, as long as it's been well maintained. Great buy, great SUV, simple, won't do anything wrong on you, as long as you take care of it. Everybody would ooh and ah over this red Audi here, but I'm going to focus my attention on this black Volvo. Looks like a V70 station wagon. I've owned one of these as well. Fantastic cars. I mean, so well built. This is the safe car that comes from Sweden. The Saab is the fun car. The Volvos are the safe cars. Very well built. Seats are super comfortable. I never had an issue with mine. They do have timing belts. They do have suspension issues as they age, as every car does. This looks to be an 05 to 07 as they have the clear lenses. They believe 01 to 04 has the fluted, where it has lines through here so you can't actually see the reflectors of the bulbs. But this thing is very nice. Obviously needs tinted windows if you're gonna drive a hearse on wheels. No roof rails. Somebody definitely loved this car. 2.5 liter straight 5 engine. Doesn't really produce a whole lot of horsepower. It sounds better on paper, but very reliable. Very sad to see this thing here, but hopefully you can save a couple other Volvo wagons on the road. The Subaru B9 Tribeca. It's a mouthful. This was Subaru's first attempt at a 7-8 passenger crossover. I can't remember exactly what they hold. They're definitely, the looks are definitely a little bit goofy. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Most people look at this and it's just a ordinary SUV. I mean, the interior is pretty cool. This is probably an 07 or an 08. Saab was actually slotted to make a version of this, but it never came to fruition. Maybe I said that wrong, but fruition? I don't know, you guys know what I'm talking about. DVD player in the rear, sunroof, third row back here. The coolest part about these, I guess cool, subjective, these wiper blades, they are heated. So these lines are actually defrost lines to heat the blades. A lot of cars do that now, but back in 07 and 08, that was not very common. And these wiper blades are Subaru B9 Tribeca blades only. You cannot go to Walmart, you cannot go to O'Reilly's, you cannot go to AutoZone and buy a set of universal blades. You have to buy them from Subaru, from a aftermarket supplier that makes them for the B9 Tribeca. They're the only blades that will work on these cars. Fascinating, yes. Frustrating for the owners of these vehicles, absolutely, but that's a cool piece of information I had to share with you guys. Cool cars nonetheless. Not surprised to see it mostly intact, as there are not a whole lot of these on the road anymore. Here is a badge engineered version of a GMC Envoy or Chevy Trailblazer. This is the Buick Rainier. This one's equipped with the 5.3 liter V8, the one that is commonly found in the Silverados of the time. You know, the main difference between these and a Trailblazer or an Envoy is that these come with all-time all-wheel drive. They call it Smart Track, StabiliTrack. They also have these very pretty gauges, kind of like that Rendezvous I showed you guys earlier. You know, this one is a Buick, obviously, so it's a little bit higher trimmed. Heated seats are in the doors, memory seats there. Automatic climate control, sunroof, garage door openers, and even the coolest thing you could have in the mid-2000s is a voice recorder. So you can actually record notes, you know, remember to get milk at the store, pick up Timmy from soccer practice, and you can play them back to yourself through the car speakers. It's tech like that that's really kind of gone away with the integration of smartphones, all these smart things that our cars can do now. It's simple things like that that I kind of miss in a car. But no, a little bit better looking, but very, very, very similar to a Envoy, and they sold these at a higher cost. Buick buyers wanted a Buick. They didn't want to go out and buy a Chevy, so this is their answer.